Under the blood-red sky, Emma stood frozen, her newborn calf trembling at her side as shadowy figures closed in, silent and deadly. The ground beneath them held secrets darker than the night itself. But what happened next will shock even those who thought they'd seen everything. But first, let's go back to the beginning. Under the relentless sun, the savannah stretched endlessly, a tapestry of waving grasses and scattered acacia trees. Here, life thrived and struggled in equal measure, a delicate dance where survival was never guaranteed. Emma, with her towering neck and gentle eyes, stood rooted beside her newborn calf, Noah, as if the ground beneath them held a sacred promise. Her every movement whispered caution, every breath filled with vigilance. Unlike the other giraffes who grazed or wandered in small herds, Emma remained tethered to that one spot, her gaze sharp and unwavering. For Emma, this was no ordinary place. It was the very cradle of Noah's fragile new life, a territory she instinctively guarded with an intensity that bewildered even the most seasoned rangers observing from afar. The air hummed with unseen dangers, lions hidden in tall grasses, hyenas circling at dusk. Yet Emma's resolve never wavered. Her choice defied the instincts of her kind, who would normally lead their young to safer, more open grounds where escape routes were plentiful. But Emma's heart was not guided by logic. It was shaped by an unyielding devotion that transcended survival norms. The rangers, led by a pragmatic woman named Claire, wrestled with concern and fascination. Emma's refusal to move complicated, delicate conservation plans designed to protect the giraffes from increasing threats, including poaching and habitat loss. The area Emma clung to was perilous, a border zone between protected land and human encroachment. Yet, watching Emma's watchful stance, Claire sensed something profound beneath the surface. This was not mere defiance, but a maternal bond etched into the very fabric of Emma's being. It was a story of love, so fierce, so elemental, that it shook the boundaries between instinct and will. In the quiet hours before dawn, when the savannah seemed to hold its breath, Emma stood silhouetted against the sprawling horizon, her eyes never leaving Noah. Every cautious step Noah took was met with a gentle nudge, every tremble with protective warmth. To outsiders, it might seem a reckless gamble, but to Emma, it was the only path. The spot was sacred because it was where life had burst forth amid uncertainty, a sanctuary born not of geography, but of a mother's undying hope. As the sun climbed higher, casting long shadows over the grasslands, Emma's vigilance remained unbroken. Around her the world continued its relentless cycle, but for this mother and her calf, time had frozen in an eternal moment of compassion, a silent vow to protect Noah, no matter the cost. Jake's boots pressed silently into the dry earth, each step deliberate as he trailed behind Emma at a careful distance, his eyes narrowing to decode the subtle language of her vigilant gaze. The seasoned biologist had spent years reading animal behavior, but something in Emma's relentless focus unsettled him. A tension that went beyond maternal instinct, a silent alarm she broadcast toward an unseen menace. Her neck arched, ears twitching sharply, eyes flickering toward a patch of thorny bush lining the edge of the relocation boundary. There was fear there, raw, urgent, primal, and Jake knew it wasn't just the natural anxiety of a new mother. In the cool shadows of early morning, Jake crouched behind a cluster of tall grasses, heart pounding as he surveyed the area Emma fixed her attention on. Hidden among the underbrush, nearly invisible beneath a camouflage of branches and dried leaves, he spotted the cruel glint of metal. Traps, rigged with merciless precision. His breath caught. These weren't ordinary snares. They were designed for capture, to imprison the vulnerable, the young, the defenseless, animals destined for the black market's greed-fueled horrors. The traps formed a silent, lethal net, woven with human cruelty into the very fabric of the land Emma sought to protect with her presence. The gravity of the situation pressed down on Jake like a suffocating weight. The poachers operated in shadows, ruthless and cunning, willing to challenge conservation laws with deadly force. Revealing their location to authorities meant igniting a volatile conflict, potentially putting lives, both human and animal, on the line. Yet, withholding this knowledge risked Emma and Noah's lives, the calf's tender new breath vulnerable to an unseen predator. Jake's mind raced, the edges of professional detachment fraying under the urgency of impending catastrophe. Every instinct screamed for action, but the stakes were perilously high. The savannah, once a place of natural cycles and peaceful coexistence, had become a battleground, a secret war waged in silence, where a mother's steadfast watch was the only barrier between life and death. Emma's refusal to leave was not just a shield of compassion, but a sentinel's stand against a creeping menace that threatened to unravel everything they fought to preserve. As the sun climbed, casting harsh light over the deadly snares, Jake's resolve hardened. The hidden threat could no longer be ignored. He faced a brutal choice: expose the poachers and risk escalating violence, or find another way to protect the fragile sanctuary Emma guarded so fiercely. The shadows lengthened, the tension tightened, and the line between protector and prey blurred under the unforgiving African sky. Jake's hands trembled as he pieced together the fragments of a truth he never wanted to face. The flickering images from the hidden camera, set discreetly near the relocation boundary, revealed Lucas moving silently under the cloak of dusk, his figure bending low to whisper into a cracked radio. The voice on the other end was cold, merciless, trading secrets like currency in a brutal economy where lives were mere collateral. Each coded word Lucas spoke stabbed Jake's heart with icy precision, unraveling years of trust in a single moment. The man Jake had shared countless hours with in the relentless heat of the savannah, the man who had celebrated newborn calves and mourned lost mothers, was a traitor. The betrayal was not a sudden lapse, but a calculated choice born from desperation, greed, and moral surrender. Lucas's justification, money for a struggling family, echoed hollow against the backdrop of ruined sanctuaries and slaughtered wildlife. The delicate balance Emma fought to maintain was now enmeshed in human corruption, a sinister knot tightening around the fragile threads of life. Jake's mind reeled, the initial shock morphing into a burning inferno of rage and sorrow. How could one so close, so seemingly devoted, become an instrument of destruction? The betrayal was a fracture not only in their mission, but in Jake's own belief in the goodness of those who called themselves protectors. The poachers' impending raid, now armed with insider knowledge, threatened to obliterate the fragile hope Emma embodied. The news sent ripples through the conservation camp. Quiet whispers turned to frantic discussions, and every plan was shadowed by doubt. The safety nets painstakingly woven over years were crumbling under the weight of human greed. Yet within Jake's turmoil, a fierce resolve sparked. He would not allow Lucas's betrayal to doom the giraffes. Emma's courage had bought precious time Jake intended to use with ruthless precision. Mapping every patrol route, memorizing every secret clearing, Jake began crafting a counter-strategy born from desperation and cunning. He planned to exploit Lucas's predictable habits, turning the traitor's own patterns against him. The upcoming days would demand every ounce of stealth, courage, and sacrifice. Jake's rage fueled a singular purpose: to shield Emma, Noah, and their kin from the darkness that had infiltrated their world. In the heart of betrayal, amidst the shadows cast by human greed, the fight for survival was about to reach a devastating crescendo. The first golden rays of dawn stretched lazily across the savannah, casting long shadows over the land Emma had guarded so fiercely. As the sun spilled warmth into the cool morning air, Emma took her first deliberate steps away from the birthplace where she had stood vigil for so long. Her neck arched with quiet pride, muscles rippling beneath her tawny skin, each stride a testament to survival against all odds. Noah trotted unsteadily beside her, his legs still awkward but eager to explore the boundless plains now safely open before them. Behind them, the conservation camp stirred with cautious optimism. Jake stood at the edge of the clearing, his chest swelling with a complex mixture of exhaustion, relief, and hard-won triumph. The poacher's arrest was more than just a victory. It was a beacon of hope in a landscape marred by shadowy threats and whispered fears. The betrayal of Lucas had cut deep, but this moment, this fragile breath of peace, was proof that integrity and courage could still prevail amid darkness. The area where Emma had lingered, once a dangerous no-man's land, now hummed softly with renewed life. The traps were dismantled, the snare marks fading under careful hands, and patrols moved with vigilant purpose. Local communities, once wary and resigned, found new resolve in Emma's story. Her defiant motherhood became a symbol of resilience, of fierce love, and of the unyielding bond between life and land. Conservationists spoke of her as a rallying point, a living testament to the power of compassion and the necessity of stewardship. Emma's eyes scanned the horizon, the vast expanse of grass and acacia trees shimmering under the rising sun. The air was thick with the scent of fresh earth and blooming wildflowers, a sensory promise of renewal. Noah's soft nuzzles against her flank were the pulse of continuity, a fragile thread weaving past pain into future possibility. The mother and calf moved forward, not just as survivors, but as emblems of a fragile truce between humankind and nature, a pact forged in sacrifice and hope. Jake's gaze lingered on Emma's silhouette as she disappeared into the golden distance, carrying with her a narrative that would ripple far beyond the savannah. In her triumph lay a profound truth. Even in a world scarred by greed and betrayal, the quiet strength of a mother's love could ignite change, inspire courage, and kindle the faintest light of hope. The battle was far from over, but in this moment, relief was a powerful, healing force, an echo of life's unbreakable will to endure.